do it, goddammit, if you're gonna...
You ever notice that Wallace's death didn't just end one life? It set off a chain reaction that broke half the city. People talk about Omar, Stringer, Avon, but none of them changed the course of The Wire as quietly or as tragically as Wallace did. Because that boy's death wasn't just a sad scene, it was a hinge. Everything that came after, Omar's downfall, D'Angelo's collapse, the fracture of the Barksdales, all of it started with one scared kid at a payphone, trying to do the right thing in the wrong world. Some would call this a good kid, mad city problem.
Man down. Where you from?
Let's start where it all began. That small, trembling call Wallace made that got Brandon killed. Thus, there is blood dripping on his hands too. It's easy to forget that before Omar was a myth, before he became the shotgun-wielding ghost of Baltimore, he was just a man in love. Brandon was his partner, his heart, his reason to still believe in something pure, even while knee-deep in blood and street codes. When they robbed the Barksdales, they didn't just steal money or product, they stole face.
They embarrass powerful men in front of their soldiers, and that's something the game never forgives. In The Wire, humiliation is worse than death because it lingers. It makes others question your power. Machiavelli once warned, men ought either to be well treated or crushed.
Because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries, but of more serious ones, they cannot. Omar didn't crush them, he humiliated them. And the Barksdales, especially Stringer, could never let that stand. You can see it in the way Stringer orchestrates Brandon's death.
Like when they go out killing animals or whatnot, got them on the front of the truck, tied up, stretched out, so everybody could see it.
It's not quick, it's not efficient, it's performative.
You feel me? I'm serious, that's what I want. I want that motherfucker on display.
They don't just kill Brandon, they make an example of him.
We send a message to the courtyard about this motherfucker, so people know we ain't playing.
His body is left on display, mutilated in public. That's not vengeance, that's a message. In that moment, the streets follow Machiavelli's rule to the letter. If you can't rule through love, rule through fear. And so begins the cycle that defines The Wire. Humiliation breeding hatred, hatred breeding violence, and violence breeding myth. Omar's grief forged his legend. But it was born from one of the oldest political truths ever written. Never make your enemy hate you so deeply that killing you becomes the only way they can feel whole again. Wallace spotted Brandon near the pit, playing video games, acting like the city hadn't just declared war on him.
That's him? Alright, come on.
He didn't mean to betray anyone. He thought he was helping, being loyal to D'Angelo, keeping himself safe. So he called it in. That one call, that one whisper started a domino line of death. Brandon got tortured and displayed like a warning on the hood of a car. Omar lost the love of his life and turned into a walking storm of revenge. D'Angelo saw the body and felt his stomach twist. And for the first time, the drug game stopped feeling like a business and started feeling like damnation. Wallace didn't mean for any of that, but that's what makes it so tragic. In The Wire, innocence isn't protection, it's a liability. When he saw what he'd done, Wallace broke. The body haunted him, not in the dramatic, cinematic way, but in that quiet, gnawing kind of guilt that lives in your stomach.
It fucks me up. It's like he's looking out, like he sees everything.
He'd go to bed hearing the sound of that phone call.
Don't think about it.
I can't. Fuck.
He'd wake up feeding the kids he took care of.
Pretending everything was normal, but every day it got harder. And that's the part of Wallace most people forget. He was a caretaker.
He was the closest thing they had to a parent. He'd wake them up for school, make them chicken nuggets, brush their hair. He wasn't selling drugs for sneakers or status. He was selling them so those kids didn't starve.
I need to get up in this Chinese food, because, you know, I'm looking kind of needy right about now. She listening to me. Hold up, take your plates first.
When you really think about it, those kids probably went hungry after he died. The state wouldn't have found them until they were half feral. They'd be split up, thrown into the foster system, where love gets rationed like government cheese.
Come on, get up. School day, y'all gonna be late. Go, get to school. go. Get up. Come on, man.
Damn, Wallace.
Damn, Wallace, nothing. That happens like y'all don't go to school. Soon enough, they're gonna be calling around. All y'all gonna end up in foster kids. Y'all want foster kids? Just climb your little black ass back in the beds then.
Wallace kept them out of that. He made an abandoned house feel like a home. That's why his life mattered more than most in The Wire. Because he wasn't just trying to survive, he was holding back a tide of destruction with his bare hands. And when that call got Brandon killed, when Omar's wrath began, when D'Angelo realized the moral weight of it, Wallace was the first domino. You can trace a straight line from Wallace's fear to nearly every major downfall in The Wire. Brandon's death hardens Omar.
Looking for closure, huh?
Hey, look here, man, ain't no closure. Not unless Brandon gonna walk about his grave and come up in this room right now. See, all I know is whoever did him that way, they gets got.
Omar's revenge destabilizes Avon's empire. That chaos breaks D'Angelo's conscience wide open.
Where's Wallace? That's all I want to know.
Kid, you better think.
Where the fuck is Wallace? Huh? String! String! Look at me! Look at me! Where the fuck is Wallace? Huh? I don't want this.
Stringer sees D'Angelo as a threat, too emotional, too human, and has him strangled in a prison cell. That betrayal poisons his bond with Avon.
But there you go, a life that had to be snatched, Avon.
And that fracture leads directly to the Barksdale Empire's collapse.
Yo, man, I took that shit off you, put it on me, man, because that motherfucker was out of pocket with that shit. 20 years above his fucking head. He flipped, man, they got you, me, and fucking Brianna. No fucking way, man. Hell no. Now, I know you that family, you love that nigga, but you wanna talk that blood is thicker than water bullshit. Take that shit somewhere else, nigga.
But what many forget, or maybe choose to forget, is that Wallace wasn't just a victim of that chain. He was part of it. Everyone remembers his tears, the trembling,
Where the fuck is Wallace? Huh? Straight.
But rewind a little further to Johnny Weeks, the harmless junkie who tried to hustle fake money on the corner. All the boys roughed him up, but Wallace took it further.
Hell yeah!
He cracked a bottle over Johnny's head, a cheap glass halo of rage and fear. Johnny almost died in the hospital. It's easy to remember Wallace as the innocent boy who fed the kids and dreamed about school. But that moment shows something darker, that even the kindest soul in Baltimore isn't untouched by the game. That was the seed of what would later destroy him, the fear of seeming weak, the need to prove himself, the pressure to fit into a system built on cruelty. In a world where survival means becoming someone else, Wallace learned too late that violence doesn't protect you. It just marks where the next tragedy will begin. All of that, every shift in power, every murder, stems from one scared boy on a payphone. It's like fate looked at Wallace and said, "You'll carry the burden of all of them." But the thing about Baltimore and life is that you can't outrun the places that shaped you. Wallace calls Poot almost every day from the country, not to check in on the game, just to hear someone's voice, to feel a connection to a world that was killing him but was still the only home he knew. That's what's so crushing about Wallace. He doesn't miss the corner, he misses the noise, the hum, the people, even the chaos. Because when you grow up in the game, silence feels like death, and peace feels like punishment.
No country scenery, just too slow for me, yo.
He wants to believe he still belongs somewhere. And that's the thing about belonging. It's addictive. It's the softest kind of poison. Might taste good going down, but will kill all your humanity while rotting your soul. That's why he comes back. Not because he's stupid, not because he wants to sling again, but because loneliness is a kind of hunger too. And Baltimore, even in all its violence, was the only place that ever fed him. But when he returns, everything's changed.
I don't think I'm cut out to be no country ass nigga, man.
Deposit $2 for an additional.
Shit, yo, I gotta go.
Take a nigga about the west side,
But you can't take.
The Barksdales see him as a risk now, a boy who's seen too much, who feels too much, who might talk too much. And in a business where silence is currency, empathy makes you bankrupt. That's the thing about Wallace. Even when he was trying to survive, he was participating in the very system that would later destroy him. The game didn't just claim him, it trained him. It taught him to hit first, to hide fear behind anger, to confuse cruelty for control. He was never born evil. He was born inside a machine that didn't allow innocence to last. And when that same machine decided he was a threat, it dismantled him just as efficiently. By the time Poot and Bodhi find him in that cramped apartment, Wallace isn't the same kid feeding the younger boys or dreaming about school. He's trembling, scattered, confused, and paranoid. He's been living with ghosts, Brandons, Omars, D'Angelos, and he's seen too much for a kid his age. He's talked to the cops, not because he's disloyal, but because he's desperate. He wants out, but there's no out. Not in Baltimore, not in the game. It's almost poetic how Stringer gives the order, not with fury, not even frustration, just quiet logic, like a man signing paperwork. That's what makes it so horrifying. In The Wire, death isn't born from rage, it's born from routine. Nobody kills out of passion, they kill out of procedure. When Poot and Bodhi sit down to share that meal with Wallace, it feels ordinary, but it isn't. Wallace doesn't know it's his last meal, but they do. There's a quiet dread under every word, a tension so thick it almost hums. It's like watching three friends share dinner before a funeral that only two of them know is coming. Wallace talks like he's still got time.
It wasn't much you didn't pour it into. You man, saying talking about your mom like you still a kid.
Well, I got the thinking on it. Your ass ain't got to be hard all the goddamn time either.
Poot and Bodhi eat like they're trying to swallow the guilt before it eats them. Poot sits close, trying to convince himself that it doesn't have to go this way. Bodhi keeps his mask on, pretending to be the soldier. But Poot is different. Poot feels it. He's the one who's known Wallace since before any of this meant anything. He watched him feed kids, share his money.
Fuck the taxes, fuck D, fuck all of that shit. Just let me hold $10 and I give it back to you by Friday.
How? D ain't gonna pay you for not working.
Look, you gonna let me hold 10 or not?
Talk about going back to school. Deep down, Poot wants to believe Wallace wouldn't snitch. He wants to believe the kid they grew up with is still there. But even he knows Wallace's recent addiction, his breakdown, his fear, all make him a liability. There's that haunting scene in the low-rise courtyard when Stringer Bell pulls Bodhi aside. The tone isn't angry, it's surgical. He studies Bodhi like a craftsman inspecting a tool.
What about you? You built for this shit?
Stringer asks, his voice calm, almost fatherly. He's not just testing Bodhi's courage, he's grooming him.
You ready to put the work in? You got heat?
He hands him the responsibility and the weight at the same time, like passing down a curse. Stringer asks if Bodhi is built for this and if he's ready to put the work in. In this world, there is no other answer but yes, because no comes with your funeral. Bodhi says, and Stringer seals it, dismissing him with unspoken but explicit orders by calling him a soldier.
Aye, soldier.
No discussion, no moral debate, just the cold efficiency of a man who's long stopped confusing power with humanity.
That moment seals it. It's not just an order, it's an initiation. Bodhi becomes a soldier, and soldiers don't question, they execute. So when Bodhi later says, you do it, or step off to Poot, it's not a threat, it's doctrine.
Ed Wallace snitched. Yo, Kevin might have snitched too, man, but he didn't. Yeah. And we had to do Wallace. Yo, Marlo thought he had to do Kevin, man, but he didn't. That's what I'm saying. It's a cold motherfucker. It's a cold world, Bodhi. Thought you said it was getting warmer, nigga. World going one way, people another, yo.
Step off doesn't mean walk away, it means you're next. The game doesn't forgive hesitation because hesitation looks like weakness.
Gimpy as a motherfucker.
And weakness invites death.
Let me get one of them too.
What's devastating is that you can see Bodhi's conflict even as he delivers the line. There's no cruelty in his voice, just resignation. He's saying what Stringer taught him, that survival in Baltimore isn't about right or wrong, it's about momentum. You keep moving forward, even if it's over the body of a friend. That's the poison running through the game's bloodstream. It teaches kids to trade their conscience for safety, their empathy for orders. Wallace's death isn't just one boy's tragedy, it's the system teaching another two how to live without souls. And as Bodhi tries to psych himself up, he tells Wallace,
Boy, be a man. Stand up like a motherfucking man. Man, you said you was a fucking man. Stand up straight.
just like Bodhi asked moments ago over sharing their last meal together.
What are you? A boy or a man?
I'm a man.
This question was not accidental. It's an attempt at self-preservation, a desperate way of making himself believe this is fair. Because if Wallace is a man, then he knows the rules. He made his choices. He deserves this. But we all know Wallace isn't a man. He's a boy pretending to understand a world built on cruelty. He didn't sign up for the game. He was born into it. When Bodhi pulls the trigger the first time, it doesn't finish the job.
Do it, goddammit, if you're gonna...
The bullet lands, but Wallace doesn't die right away. He stumbles, crying, calling their names. The names of the only family he's ever known. And that's when Poot steps forward. He doesn't shoot out of anger. He shoots to end the suffering. Wallace is Bodhi's, his own. It's haunting how quiet it all is. No shouting, no chaos, just breathing. Two boys standing over their friend, realizing they've just crossed the final line. And then there's the background detail most people miss. Wallace dies next to a Tupac poster. It's poetic in the most tragic way. Tupac, a man known for his contradictions, the poet trapped inside a gangster's body.
I've seen guys speak to women with this much respect, and I deplore that. My mother just told me, I grew up, my mother raised me, so I have this much respect for women, and I fight often because of that. And it gives me a lot of friends. I mean, I get a lot of friends, but I get a lot of friends because I have respect for women.
A man who was more actor than killer, more soul than soldier.
Come here.
But still consumed by the very image he helped create.
Shocked the world of music. 25-year-old Tupac Shakur shot 4 times inside this BMW in this intersection near the Las Vegas Strip in September 1996. He would die from his injuries 6 days later.
Wallace mirrors that perfectly. He wanted to play the part, but he wasn't built for it. He had too much heart for the game.
I just don't want to play. I just don't want to play no more. Alright? I was thinking about going to school over at Edmondson.
Like Tupac, he died trying to prove something to a world that didn't care if he was real or not.
And that's the real cruelty of The Wire. The people who won out are the ones who pay the highest price. Wallace's death isn't cinematic. It's claustrophobic.
2 boys, a small room, guns shaking, Poot's crying, bodies sweating. Wallace is pleading.
My nigga, man, you said you was a fucking man. Stand up straight.
That's us, man.
That line, that's what breaks you. Because in that moment, you realize the game doesn't even let friendship survive. And here's the cruel part. Wallace's death doesn't just destroy D'Angelo emotionally.
My own man, all right? So just get back in your car and get the fuck back down south.
I ain't you stupid motherfucker. You made the decision.
Yeah, I made my decision. Where's Wallace at? Where the fuck is Wallace? Where's Wallace, Drake?
It erodes the foundation of Avon's entire empire. D'Angelo can't live with it. He becomes distant, distracted, a man filled with doubt, and in that world, doubt is deadly.
When they got no more use for you, that family shit disappears. It's just about business, darn that.
D, they're gonna be there for us.
And when you think about the kids he left behind, the ones sleeping on mattresses, eating chicken nuggets off paper plates, you realize he wasn't just fighting for survival. He was fighting to preserve a little pocket of humanity in a city that had none left.
Goja, you work in the ground stash, 20 tall pigs. 2 fiends come up to you and ask for 2 each. Another one cops 3. Then Bodhi hands you off 10 more. But some white guy rolls up in the car, waves you down and pays for 8. How many vials you got left?
15.
How the fuck you able to keep the count right? You're not able to do the book problem here.
Count be wrong and fuck you up.
Wallace's death didn't just end his story, it erased a small act of resistance. Those kids went hungry again. They were probably pulled into the same system he was trying to protect them from. The cycle reset. The moment Wallace died, Baltimore lost one of its last caregivers. And from there, the streets only got colder. When Wallace dies, The Wire stops pretending it's about drugs. It becomes about consequences. Because the tragedy of that show isn't that bad things happen. It's that they keep happening for the same reasons. You can feel the impact immediately. The next episode isn't louder, it's quieter. Like the air in Baltimore itself has gone still. Wallace's death shattered the illusion that D'Angelo could be both moral and loyal. Because loyalty in the Barksdale organization is never to the person, it's to the game.
All in the game, yo.
It's all in the game.
This right here is part of the game, D.
It's all in the game.
It's all in the game, though, right?
The game is the game.
The game is the game.
That's the game.
That's the game, yo.
Now you're in the game.
The game is the game.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And D'Angelo's empathy makes him dangerous. He doesn't just feel guilt, he questions it. Bodie always thought he understood the game. He once said, a pawn can survive if he's smart enough.
Then you win. Alright, but if I make it to the end, I'm top dog.
Nah, yo, it ain't like that. Look, pawns, man, in the game, they get capped quick. They be out the game early.
Unless they some smart-ass pawns.
For a while, he believed it. He saw himself as one of the clever ones. Sharper, braver, more loyal than the rest. But in The Wire, pawns don't survive. They just get used differently before they're cleared from the board.
Wallace thought he could escape early. D'Angelo tried to play with a conscience, and both of them were removed just the same. It's haunting how the chessboard D'Angelo once used to explain the game foreshadows it all.
This the kingpin, alright? And he the man. You get the other dude's king, you got the game. But he trying to get your king too, so you got protected.
He told them, this is the king, this is the queen. Everything else, they're just pawns. And Wallace, eager and naive, pointed at Stringer and said, so Stringer's the queen?
And you see this? This the queen. She's smart, she fierce. She move any way she want, as far as she want. And she is the go-get-shit-done piece.
Remind me of Stringer.
He was right, and it's almost prophetic, because the queen, the most powerful piece, is the one that moves silently across the board and takes him out.
Which one?
You know, the one that was at the Greeks that night. We paid him for the lookout.
What y'all need him for?
Most is to you.
You ain't gotta worry about him.
Say what?
He's gone. He's out the game.
Out the game?
Yo, the man asked you a simple question.
D'Angelo told them,
Chill out, I wanna see this.
Y'all can't be playing no checkers on no chessboard, yo.
why?
We ain't got no checkers. Yeah, but yo.
Because you just can't, D'Angelo said. It was his way of saying what everyone in Baltimore already knew but could never escape.
The game is the fucking game.
And years later, Marlowe would echo the same truth with colder poetry.
You want it to be one way.
What?
You want it to be one way.
No.
You want it to be one way.
Man, stop.
Stop saying that. What is the other way?
Wallace wanted the game to be something you could win by playing fair, by being loyal, by having a heart.
I appreciate what you're trying to say and all, but I grew up in the course, alright? I've been with them niggas since shit forever. I guess it's a home, right?
But in this world, there's no space for that. D'Angelo starts looking around and seeing ghosts. The kid he tried to protect.
Said about all that killing, you know? Especially that part about how it ain't gotta be like that.
The body he ordered moved.
Baby, this ain't about what you do.
I don't look like something you could roll up in a rug and throw in the trash.
The lie he told. And in the Barksdale world, guilt is a crack in the armor. Stringer sees it and knows it's only a matter of time before that guilt spills out.
Yo, man, I took that shit off you, put it on me, man, because that motherfucker was out of pocket with that shit. 20 years above his fucking head. He flipped, man. They got you, me, and fucking Brianna. No fucking way, man. Hell no.
So he ends it. That moment, D'Angelo's death, is the true funeral for Wallace, because Wallace was the last thread of D'Angelo's conscience. When that thread snapped, D'Angelo lost his tether to goodness, and when he died, Avon lost his tether to family.
I ain't had shit to do with it.
To do with what?
Stab.
To do with what?
Whatever happened?
You're dead!
Whatever it is that happened, Brianna.
You ever notice how The Wire kills its most human characters in the most inhuman places? Not on the corners, not in the towers, not in places where life still hums, but in abandoned buildings. Hollowed out shells of what used to be.
As if Baltimore itself is saying, this is where we put the people who don't belong. That's the tragic symmetry people forget. Wallace dies in a forgotten row house. A place with no heat, no light, no witnesses, no one to remember he ever existed, a building no one claims, just like him, and it takes two boys, Bodie and Poot, to do it. Two kids killing a kid, because in this world, even innocence requires a team effort to destroy. Even tragedy needs accomplices. Stringer Bell dies in almost the exact same grave. Two men, Omar and brother Mouzone, in an abandoned, half-finished condo tower he once dreamed of turning into real estate glory. A monument to the man he wanted to be. Instead, it becomes the mausoleum of the man he never was.
Well, get on with it, motherfucker.
And when Avon later says,
I see a man without a country.
It hits harder than a gunshot. Stringer didn't belong to the streets anymore, but he never earned citizenship in the world of business suits and clean ledgers either. The building he dies in mirrors his soul, unfinished, unanchored, unclaimed. The same is true of Wallace. Wallace isn't fully in the game, not fully out. He's not a student, not a soldier, just soft enough to be hurt, just street enough to be used.
Cold.
These abandoned structures, the row house and the condo, aren't just backdrops, they're diagnoses. They show us exactly what Baltimore produces when it tries to hold on to two versions of itself at once, hopeful and hopeless, dreaming and decaying. And the parallels run deeper. Both Wallace and Stringer try to change the game in ways the game was never built to handle. Stringer wants to run the drug trade like a corporation, no bodies, just business. Wallace wants the kids in his abandoned house to stay safe, to stay fed, to stay children. Both of them reach for gentleness in a world that punishes softness, and both of them die because of it. Wallace's breakdown cracks D'Angelo's heart. Stringer's ambition breaks his friendship with Avon. Each man's death becomes a seismic event that shifts the entire show's future. They aren't just characters, they're pivots. When they fall, institutions fall with them. But maybe the cruelest part is this: they both die because they underestimate how rigid the system is. Wallace thinks he can simply go to his grandmother's house and be done. Stringer thinks logic and negotiation can outmaneuver vengeance and ego. But as Slim Charles said,
game the same, just got more feds.
Not the corners, not the drugs, the rules, the unwritten code that punishes anyone who tries to step outside their role, a pawn who hesitates, a queen who overreaches, both get taken off the board.
It's on the game though, right?
And if you think this symmetry ends here, it doesn't.
Man, it is about to get crazy up in here.
Because there's a deeper connection. One that reaches beyond Baltimore, beyond the wire, straight into the heart of another masterpiece about good kids surrounded by mad cities. And I'll explain how Wallace and Stringer's deaths connect directly to Kendrick Lamar's entire philosophy of survival. I didn't really know how to close this out, maybe because there's no clean way to end a story like Wallace's. Maybe because the van's still running somewhere in the background, humming the same way Kendrick Lamar's does, like a heartbeat trapped in traffic. Because if there was ever a phrase that captured who Wallace was, it's that. A good kid in a mad city. Kendrick's album isn't just about Compton. It's about gravity, the kind that pulls kids down into cycles they didn't build but can't escape. The art of peer pressure. One minute you're playing video games, the next minute you're breaking into houses with your friends. Not because you want to, but because saying no means being left behind. That's Wallace.
So what'd you say to make D pay out?
I told him to give it up or I'm taking out of the account.
Shit.
Yo, look, I'll punk niggas when I got to.
A boy caught between two worlds. The child who still braided the hair of the kids he fed chicken nuggets to, and the young man standing on the corner selling to their mothers.
Great, man. Alright, y'all know what the fuck this is. Up against the wall, hurry the fuck up. Come on, let's go. Get the ones in the back. Get the ones in the back. Got time for this shit.
It's strange. Wallace never looked like the streets. He looked like someone pretending to belong there. His hands weren't meant to count vials, but he did anyway. Because what else was he supposed to do? Just like Kendrick's younger self driving around with his boys, whispering, even when he knew he was somewhere he shouldn't be. That's the pressure, that invisible gravity that shapes every good kid. And then there's that line in the art of peer pressure.
But they made a right, they made a left, they made a right, then another right.
The rhythm of bad decisions that sound like routine. Wallace made those same turns, one choice leading to another until he's too far gone to reverse. Reporting Brandon's location to Stringer wasn't cruelty, it was fear. The same fear that drives kids to prove themselves before the world decides they're weak. And that's why feels like a reflection of The Wire. Because Kendrick's story doesn't end with glory either. Dave and Dave's brother, two friends who die for nothing, swallowed by revenge, are Baltimore too. They're Bodie and Poot, Michael and Wallace, Randy and Dookie, all trapped in the same revolving door. Kids who wanted to be loved but found belonging in blood. There's that haunting part of Kendrick's story, temptation personified, calling his name like salvation. He asks, the choice between desire and deliverance, between the street and redemption. But how do you choose holiness in hell? Wallace tried. His little abandoned house was his hallelujah, his last small prayer for normalcy. Feeding those kids, keeping them out of the system was his gospel, his hallelujah. But the city doesn't reward salvation, it swallows it. And as the album moves forward, money trees, backseat freestyle, swimming pools, you feel that slow descent. The prayers start to sound like excuses, the same way The Wire turns kindness into weakness. By the time you reach Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst, Kendrick isn't rapping anymore, he's confessing. That song could be Wallace's ghost speaking.
Promise that you will sing about me. Promise that you will sing about me.
Because that's all Wallace ever wanted, to be remembered for something other than the corner. And yet, the city keeps rotting, surviving off its own decay. It doesn't care who dies, as long as the system keeps breathing. That's what David Simon captured. Not Baltimore, not Compton, but the blueprint of every neglected city that feeds on its youth. There's this illusion that survival is progress, that because something's still standing, it's alive. But The Wire and Good Kid, Mad City both say otherwise. They whisper the same truth. Surviving isn't living. It's just rotting slower. By the time Kendrick's album ends, he's praying. Not rapping, not flexing, not performing. Praying is the same kind of prayer that Wallace never got to make. The same kind that might have saved him if anyone had been listening. Wallace's story isn't just about Baltimore. It's about Chicago, Detroit, Memphis, Philly, any place where kids become ghosts before they ever get a chance to become men. Because The Wire isn't fiction, it's prophecy. It's the sound of cities gasping for air. And Wallace, he's the last breath before the silence. So maybe that's how you close it. Not with an ending, but with an echo. A good kid whispering his last words into the static of a mad city that never cared enough to turn the volume down.
Grandpa asked me one time if I care whether I live or die. Yeah, I do. Now it's too late.
Promise me you tell the story when you make it big. And if I die before your album drop, I hope
Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. I might do a bunch of Wire videos based on how this goes. Any feedback would be great. See you in the next video.